Hello everybody and welcome to Voicenotes with Jordan Theresa. I can't believe I finally said it! So there's been a rebrand. If you are watching, you will know there is a new background. Let me know what you all think. I know that corner. I think I'm going to stick a plant there or something because I'm not loving it, but look at all my other little trinkets, guys. Another new thing. Oh my God, guys, this chair is so comfy, but it is like a rocking chair, and I'm trying everything in my power to not rock back and forth because I know you'll probably hear like some creaking and stuff, but guys, this chair is so comfy. This is my new little podcast corner. I might actually zoom you guys in a little bit. Okay, so I've zoomed you guys in a little bit. Sorry, this is all new to me. Another new thing actually is I very spontaneously this morning decided to cut my fringe back in. So it doesn't normally look like this. Normally it's sort of like, this is sort of how it's meant to look, like this. And to be fair, because the front of my hair is bleached, it is like a fun, cute, edgy kind of look. Sorry, I'm looking at myself in the viewfinder. It is like a cute, fun, like edgy little moment, you know? But the thing is that, like, so first of all, if I say so myself, I did an absolutely incredible job at cutting it. I watched a couple of tutorials, didn't even use hair scissors, just used scissors that were sitting around my house. Like, guys, I am actually like a hairdresser. Like, I genuinely can't believe how well I've cut my own fringe. But the thing is that, like, the thing is with having like a fringe is that, like, let me get you guys in on the fringe lore in case none of you guys have fringe, in case every single one of you listening or watching doesn't have a fringe. So basically, most of the time with fringes is that when you do have a fringe, you're doing absolutely nothing but complaining about the fringe. And then when you don't have the fringe, you're just thinking about getting the fringe back. Like, you literally, anyone with a fringe knows I have a toxic relationship with my fringe. And I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm bored. So I washed like the front of my hair, blow dried it. And of course it had never, settled so nicely. Like, it literally looked beautiful. And I was like, I can't believe I'm about to cut it right now, but YOLO. So I cut it. Did a really good job, was really happy with it. And then I thought, okay, so I air wrapped my hair and I was like, oh, I don't know how I feel with like my hair when it's air wrapped curly. But the thing is, when you air wrap hair, sorry, let me hold my microphone closer. See, again, I'm not used to holding the microphone. Usually it's like stand still in one place on my desk. See, the thing is with like air wrapping, and look, I'm an air wrap stan. All right, I'm an air wrap stan to my core. I've been watching so many de-influencing TikToks, and so many people are like de-influencing a Dyson Airwrap. And you know what? If it didn't work for you, fair enough. It is very fucking expensive. I got it on like the PayPal pay and through because I was not willing to spend 500 quid in one go on a hairdryer. But guys, it is so much more than a hairdryer. Hashtag not ad, hashtag not spawn. Hashtag I wish this was an ad. Hashtag I wish it was gifted because it was 500 quid. But like, the thing is with Airwrap is that your hair does just look like a little bit fluffy. And the one thing that I love about having a fringe, or like as the Americans say it, bangs, the one thing I love about having bangs is that I love the way that my hair looks like with a fringe, like as in when my hair's tied up. I think that it's like a serve, like it's just very edgy, fun, cute, you know. But like, I think when I like air wrap the hair and then I put my makeup on, I was like, oh, I don't know how to feel. And I don't like dislike it or anything. Like, I'm not like, oh my God, I made such a huge mistake. Because I'm not even joking. It will grow out within like 3 months. It will be all grown out by the summer. So like, it's not that deep. It's just a bit of fun. Like, is it that deep? But like, I just don't know how to feel now because like I tied it up and I put a little ribbon in my hair. But like, the thing is when you air wrap a hair, it just goes a bit fluffy. I can't even remember whether I said that when I was talking about the cons of air wrapping. The cons of air wrapping is that your hair just goes like a little bit fluffy. Sorry, my skin is already oily. Is it? Or am I just using like a particularly bright light? Anyways, so some of you guys may be wondering, Jordan, why the rebrand? I thought the Jordan Theresa podcast was here to stay. And look, the Jordan Theresa podcast was like next level iconic of a name, like says what it does on the tin. But the thing is that like, it wasn't like, every single time that someone comes up with a podcast, because like literally everyone has a podcast nowadays, including myself, obvious, is that everyone always thinks of these really cute, fun names. They have like really good branding. And I think maybe like the Jordan Theresa podcast was holding me back. Like the name and sort of like the branding was holding me back from like really getting into it. Like I think I did need a little bit of motivation. And my management helped me out with the rebrand. Shout out Georgia, shout out Amy, shout out Beth, shout out Laura. They all helped me with the rebrand. Shout out them. Like I genuinely wouldn't have been able to, like, this was all their idea. I'm not taking any credit for this. So we were thinking of names. Well, we were thinking of names. I couldn't think of a single name because every single time someone thought of a podcast, I'd be like, great, what a good name, which I can now no longer have. And I can't remember who thought of it or whether it was like all four of them together. But like once a famous person did say, I'm not joking, guys, one tweet about how someone said that my podcast sounds like a voice note from a friend. And guys, I cling on to that tweet like there's no tomorrow. I cling onto that tweet like there's no tomorrow. Like that's my branding. Like that's so me. So someone once said that listening to the Jordan Theresa podcast is like listening to a voice note from a friend. And hey, I mean, who am I to disagree? So voice notes with Jordan Theresa it is. I couldn't think of a single other name except after we were talking about the rebrand, I thought like I wanted to do a name surrounding the word hun. Because as we all know, like I am such a hun, but like I was talking to my friend Jack about it and Jack did say hun is quite like a now term, even though like, look, I'm a girly girl. Not only that, I'm a beautician. Beauticians are the huns of society. So like to Jack, hun is just like a fad, but to me, hun is forever. That would have been such a good podcast name, hun is forever. But also, like, again, it's a bit anyways. So, yeah, I love doing my podcast. I genuinely really, really do love doing it. I have a lot of fun. And I think I just need that little extra push, Sorry, I'm rocking on my rocking chair. I was holding Boots like a baby, rocking her on this. Guys, it was literally the cutest thing in the entire world. She's sat in front of me right now, still in her cage. She is not coming out of her cage and she is not doing just fine. Like... I hate how funny I found that. She is not coming out of her cage and she is not doing just fine, okay? She was meant to come out on Wednesday, but the thing is that I have to take her to, so there's the vet and then there's the vet hospital. And they couldn't get me booked in for a vet hospital appointment until the week after she was meant to come out. And they're like, you're just going to have to keep her in the cage until they can check on her properly and make sure that her femur is all A-okay. So I'm taking her on Thursday. Got to take her all the way to Hendon. It's not the end of the world. Like, it's not the end of the world at all. I'm just going to get an Uber. Like, usually, like, whenever I take her to the vets, I'll take her on the bus. And it does stress her out already. And luckily, the vet is not a long journey from mine at all. But I think if I had to take her on the Northern Line, like, I just don't think that's very good for her. Like, she's already broken her femur. She got spayed like 2 months ago. The last thing she needs is to be taken on the Northern Line. So you know what? I'm treating her to an Uber. And a lot of the time you don't actually, like when you just have a cat in a carrier, you don't need to pay for Uber Pet. Especially like my carrier is like mesh, so I don't even think they'd notice that there's a cat in there. Yeah, no. So what we're going to be talking about on the podcast is the same as normal. Like not that much is changing. The only thing is that I do think I'm going to do like some similar to this one, sort of like, not even necessarily video essay, but like one topic based sort of big, like deep dives, I guess, like deep dives and explorations into different topics. And it's not going to be sort of similar to my videos. It's going to be way more anecdotal. Just want to get that clear because I'm worried in case people are going to watch these and be like, you've actually told us nothing about it. My videos are like, actually, in my opinion, my videos are like informative. Like my videos are informative. Like I'm proper researching, and obviously I've researched for this podcast, but a lot of it is a lot more anecdotal, which, anecdotal, deep dives. And then also I'm going to do the episodes where like I pick 3 different topics, so like talk about my life, any sort of updates. Oh my gosh, guys, I need to have a sip of water and look at this present that Lem got me for Valentine's Day. Guys, it's the official Love Island water bottle. Ah! Oh my God. And you know what? I have actually been, so basically, I don't drink a lot of water. I don't really drink a lot and I don't really eat a lot either. And guys, it is genuinely purely out of laziness. Like I just can't be bothered to get up and like make myself a drink. And like, I don't know, drinking water is just effort. And I remember I went around my friend Jake's last week and I was sat there for about 4 hours, didn't have a single drink, didn't have a single bite to eat. And Jake was like, "Are you okay?" Like, like, how are you surviving? Like, are you completely self-sustaining? I'm like, I'm self-sustaining, but I'm actually suffering. My skin looks like shit. I'm tired all the time. Like, I'm like, you know, in Harry Potter, when like the final Horcrux of Voldemort, when he's like lied on that little like table, like that's so me vibes. Like that is literally so me vibes. So Lem is always concerned at the lack of water that I drink. So he bought me a Love Island water bottle with my name on it. And you know what, guys? I have been drinking way more water. Like, it's just one of the things, like, with sort of, like, my ADHD and stuff, I do just drink it whenever I'm bored. I drink it whenever I'm anxious. It's just great. Yeah. So I've been drinking loads of water and, like, look, my skin has never been clearer. I've never felt healthier. But, oh, my God, I have to pee all the time. Like, is this how you people live? Is this how everyone who drinks water lives? And bear in mind, I'm only drinking about 2 of these a day, 3 tops. And how much is this? It is... oh my God, I thought that said 5 square litres, but that's just the postcode. Okay, it doesn't seem that there's like an amount written on here of how much it holds, but it holds like a very, very decent amount. One second, I'm genuinely really determined to look. No, it just says like don't microwave, la la la. Okay, so I don't really know how much this holds, but like that has to be 700 mils. Surely that has to be a litre. So I'm drinking wait, no, I don't think that's a litre. Okay, you know what, let's say I'm drinking 1.5 litres of water a day. What about those people that drink like 5 litres of water a day? Are they just peeing all the time? And it's like, guys, I have OCD, so I have to rip off a certain amount of toilet roll sheets to use the toilet roll. Like, do you know how much toilet roll I've gotten through? And it's not even like I've been shitting or anything. Like, I've literally just been drinking loads of water and peeing, you know? Like, oh my gosh, no one gets through toilet roll quicker than me and Lem because I have OCD and Lem has IBS. Oh my God, me and Lem's OCD and IBS teaming up to get through all the toilet roll. But anyways, in today's episode, we are chatting all about 2010's revival. Now, I've been seeing bits and pieces about 2010's revival popping up here and there, and I'm going to say it on TikTok. Boo! On TikTok. Ugh. I have been seeing it pop up here and there on TikTok, but mostly in conversations about fashion, which I'll talk about in just a bit. But also, I feel like there maybe will be a 2010's revival in terms of social media and our social media usage. So I thought today what we could do is we could talk a little bit about fashion, but not really. We're going to be talking about the social media stuff. You know, this is my expertise, okay? Like social media. Is social media my expertise? Is it? Anyways, so I want to create a timeline of social media in the 2010s and then sort of talk about what things I think will revive, because I am 24 years old and 2010s were my teen years. I cannot believe that. So the first time I saw this was I saw people posting like carousel posts on TikTok of 2014 aesthetic. Sorry? 2014 aesthetic. How old am I? My teen years are being aestheticized. But yes, welcome to the Voicenotes podcast, where I, Jordan Theresa, chat about all things my life, pop culture, internet trends, reality TV, and even more. And today we are chatting all about whether the 2010s are really making a comeback. So we are like all aware by now. Like, I feel like this is like the least groundbreaking statement ever when people talk about like, guys, did you know that trends come back every 20 years? Like, everyone knows that. Like, I'm not making any sort of like groundbreaking statement here. Like, trends ebb and flow. Like, I remember back in my day in the 2010s, Y2K and 2000s fashion was literally considered the worst fashion. Low-rise jeans were considered the devil. Like, I don't think you guys realize how much people had a burning hatred for low-rise jeans. Like, it was high-waisted on nothing. Like, no one ever wore low-rise stuff ever. Not even like sort of like low, like everyone, it was always above the belly button. It was always, I don't even know whether my friends had belly buttons back in 2010s because I never fucking saw them. Trends ebb and flow. And back in my day, noughties fashion was seen as like the devil, the worst. I hope it never comes back, la 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 la. And guess what? It came back. And now like 2020s fashion is so heavily influenced by Y2K fashion and 2000s fashion. But the thing is that usually trends come around sort of like every 20 years. Sorry, I feel like I'm not holding my microphone close to me. I'm trying to balance holding my microphone and playing around with my Love Island water bottle. So trends can tend to come around every sort of 20 years because back in the 2010s fashion was really influenced by 90s fashion. Like everyone's style icon was Rachel from Friends. And to be fair, still is. But that's sort of like 90s fashion of like high-waisted trousers, those like high-waisted like blue wash mum jeans. Oh guys, 15-year-old me, oh yeah, she was gonna wear a mum jean. I was obsessed with mum jeans. So those sort of light wash mum jeans, the very like the tartan skirts. I still have my American Apparel tartan skirt. Love it. So cute. I don't really wear it now because again, I'm just not into wearing high-waisted stuff at the moment. Sorry, I'm already getting like off track. God, this podcasting stuff, it's hard. So 2010s fashion was very influenced by 90s fashion. But I find with sort of overconsumption, and not just overconsumption in terms of like buying clothes, I'm talking like overconsumption when it comes to how much content we consume. I've found that, and again, maybe I'm just saying this because like I don't want to feel old. All right, maybe I'm saying this because I want to feel young and hip and cool. But I found that sort of 2010s fashion has come back a little bit quicker. Like it has only been, let's say 2012, 2013, 2014 is coming back. It's only been 10 years. Like it's only been 10 years and it's already coming back because obviously a multitude of reasons, mass consumption of like social media and just media content in general, but also like mass consumption of fashion and micro trends and the fact that now is the quickest time that you can ever buy garments and that garments can be produced. Like I was watching Mina Lay's video about Shein that she uploaded a couple years ago, and Shein can get a clothing item from basically like planning to online and like made and everything within 3 days. That's insane. So it is crazy, like to me, that glimpses of 2010s trends are already coming back, but also like it's completely expected and understandable with just like the way that like culture and social media usage and consumption just is. Someone that I follow on TikTok who I love is at Old Loser in Brooklyn. She does like trend predictions and she does like fashion videos. Yeah, guys, I'm a fashion girly now. And she actually predicted that ballet flats would come back. So one of the 2000 trends that just come back is ballet flats. And the thing is that I see people talking a lot about like, oh, people only wear trends when their favorite influencers started wearing it. And for example, like no one was really wearing ballet flats until like, ballet flats were, came back into fashion and now a lot of people are wearing ballet flats. But the thing is that I don't think I think a lot of it does have to do with sort of when you see an influencer wear it, it influences you to wear it. But also I think it's got to do a lot with the fact that you're seeing something styled in a new way from a popular influencer. So the thing about ballet flats is that when I think of 2010s ballet flats, I think of like, the flimsy Primark ones that you used to wear to school or you used to wear with a pair of skinny jeans and no socks. And it literally felt like you were just walking on the ground because the layer of material was so thin. And because you'd wear them to school, they would get wet in the rain and they'd start falling apart and they'd start smelling and they were so flimsy and bad. And, even now, I don't think I would wear a pair of skinny jeans with Primark flats. Like, it's just not me. But the thing is that ballet flats weren't brought back in that way. Like, influencers didn't start wearing jeans from, skinny jeans and, flimsy ballet flats. Ballet flats came back in the form of ballet core and the Miu Miu ballet flats, and the fact that people can now buy really good quality, well-structured ballet flats, which now match with a lot of things and look a lot better than they did 10 years ago. Like, I think it's got a lot less to do, I think it's got less to do with sort of the unspoken permission, like receiving permission from influencers. And it's got a lot more to do with like things being brought back in a new and innovative way. So ballet flats is one of them. Another one is Ugg boots. Like, I would probably never wear a pair of sort of the long shin, like the upper shin. I haven't said the word shin in a really long time. Shin. That's a good word. Those long Ugg boots. I probably never wear those again like I did back in the day. Or I had they were called cardigan Uggs or something. And they were Uggs where you could adjust the size of them. Those have got to fucking come back. Those were sick. But the thing is that I saw the ankle ones, and I saw them being paired, styled with, blue baggy jeans and a coat. And it's just a very quick, stylish winter fit. And I was like, oh, I got to get one of those. I've got to get some Uggs. So yeah, I think it's less about spoken permission and more about things being styled in a new way. Another 2010s trend, which I feel like is coming back, is slogan tees. I think this is really, really fun. I think Addison Rae has done basically her influence, Addison Rae's influence, because she wears a lot of slogan tees, and I love collecting t-shirts. I buy them either secondhand or I get them small business. And I have my DILF t-shirts, my famous DILF t-shirts, love those. And I also have I think it's called, what does it say on it? It says Future Wag on it. But the thing is that the t-shirt shrank in the wash and now it won't fit over my tits. So another thing which I keep seeing on TikTok, which I think is just so cute, is people trying on their old bandage dresses. The bandage dresses that Kim Kardashian used to wear, the really sort of hyper feminine. The only way I can sort of describe bandage dresses is they're hyper feminine, but also they're sexy secretary wear. And everyone's whipping out their old bandage dresses and trying them on. That's fun. And I feel like bandage dresses will come back, but in a new innovative way. They're not going to come back the same way that they did in the 2010s. It's the same way, when we think of low-rise jeans, the low-rise jeans that they were wearing in the 2010s were so low cut, and I feel like now when you find low-rise jeans, they're just a little bit cut higher, a little bit closer to the belly button, and that's why I think a lot more people prefer them. So, as I mentioned earlier, the first time, apart from sort of discussions within sort of the TikTok fashion community, it was of when I saw 2010's revival, was when I saw 2014 aesthetic TikTok carousels. I'm not mad about it or anything. It's just making me feel absolutely haggard. It's making me feel so old. I saw the 2014 aesthetic or 2014 nostalgia. Typically these carousel posts will have Lean On playing, the song that goes, focus, fire gun, I need someone to lean on. See, in my ears that sounded good, but I know Kath's gonna listen to this and be like, that was really bad. So I have that, and it will literally be the only thing that I can think of 2014 aesthetic is King Kylie. Kylie Jenner ruled Instagram. She ruled Snapchat, and she ruled Tumblr. This was when Kylie Jenner was a Tumblr girlie. And do you remember, oh my God, there's a clip from the Kardashians where Kim Kardashian's Kylie has this Tumblr and it's just amazing. Kylie Jenner was queen of Tumblr. She ruled Tumblr. And she had the blue, the dip dyed blue hair. Dip dye is also coming back. That's another thing that's coming back. But dip dye is coming back in a so much better way. I'm seeing people dip dyeing the very, very ends of their hair. And I feel like this dip dye only really works when you have short hair. But it's such a better way to dip dye your hair, because when it grows, you can just chop it off. Do you know the damage that people were doing to their hair by bleaching bleaching it all the way up here just to have turquoise dip dye or like pink dip dye, or oh my gosh, the hair chalks. Do they still do hair chalks? Hair chalks were wild. Oh my God, like they dried your hair out so much. They never look good. Like they always look good in pictures, but the thing is, luckily at that time, because like everyone was bleaching and dip dyeing their hair, the sort of beauty trend was to have like that sort of rough, like texturized kind of hair. So it did work. But yeah, no, so I do actually have a list of things written down. So let me just read off quickly. So we have Lean On playing in the background, King Kylie, Snapchat filters, the dog one, and the flower crown, to be specific. Oh my God, have you guys seen that tweet that's like they're having a mid-off? Guys, if 16-year-old me read that, she would have cried. She would have cried. One Direction, 5 Seconds of Summer, Coachella. I know that Coachella is still a big thing. Especially when like Beyonce performed at Coachella, Baychella. But like, other than that, I don't hear much about Coachella anymore. But then again, that could be because of COVID. Was there a Coachella recently? I don't know. Boho Chic, like again, but Boho Chic at Coachella. Like Vanessa Hudgens, Kendall Jenner, Boho Chic at Coachella. Maybelline Baby Lips. Oh my God. So back in my day, Maybelline Baby Lips were a hot commodity, and I think they were a hot commodity all over the world because they were just selling out all the time because of Mac Barbie 07's influence, which we'll talk about her later. Love you, queen. But in the UK, you actually couldn't get baby lips for a long time. I remember they started releasing baby lips, I think I was in year 9 when they actually released baby lips to the UK. And even then, oh my gosh, it was so difficult to get a hold of. And speaking of baby lips, EOS lip balms, you couldn't get EOS lip balms in the UK. You had to order them from America. And I remember begging my dad to order me an EOS lip balm off eBay, and he was going to buy one because it said £5, and then I think it got to the delivery and it must have been like 15 quid delivery from the States, and he's like, £20 on a lip balm. So in the end I had to settle with there was a brand called Balmy that had like the ball lip balms, and to be fair guys, EOS lip balms were cool. Like, I know that they were ass. Like, I know that, I mean, to be fair, I don't know because I never tried them. But I heard that the EOS lip balms weren't good. The Balmy lip balms were okay, but they're one of those lip balms where, again, because I think it's in that dome shape, they're just like, it's a lot of wax. So only way I can describe those Balmy lip balms, that they were a lot of wax. But I remember that I had like the pink one. I think it was like the raspberry flavor / scent. Great. Love the Balmy lip balms because you can get EOS in the UK. Just girly things as well. And that entire sort of like Tumblr, like ultra colorful, like aesthetic. Like, do you remember those turquoise penny boards? Do you remember when everyone had penny boards? I didn't have a penny board. My mum wouldn't let me get one because, oh my God, nearly dropped my Love Island water bottle because I already had a skateboard at home. But I was like, Mom, I want a penny board. The Bethany Mota, already mentioned her, love you. Essie Mint Candy Apple. I put chokers down, but okay, you know, I guess sort of the Kylie Jenner Tumblr, like, you know, those, they look like little tattoo chokers, but they looked like something that you would see floating in the ocean, of like one of those adverts that's like, please stop throwing things in the ocean, you're killing the fish. And that sounds really shady because they weren't that bad, but I don't really ever picture those specific chokers coming back. Chokers will come back, obviously. Everything always comes back because chokers were revived from the 90s. And then you also had Victoria's Secret. Everyone was obsessed with Victoria's Secret and Victoria's Secret Pink and the Victoria's Secret models. I used to watch the Victoria's Secret fashion show every year, and I'm thinking, why did I do that to myself? Like, I remember I was a 13-year-old girl watching the Victoria's Secret fashion show, feeling like severely depressed that I didn't look like any of these girls. Oh my God, it was so sad. Also the oversaturated Retrika pictures. Again, before, like, you know, you could edit your pictures on like the iPhone camera roll, or if you were like me, you took pictures on your iPod Touch, you would have to edit the pictures in Retrika, which is basically just like a photo editing app. But every sort of Retrika picture had like a very yellowy tinge. And then there was Polaroid cameras. and sort of Instagram models, blue ass water, you know, like beachy kind of things, but that's sort of more of like a subsection of the 2014 aesthetic. And then lastly, that is triangle bikinis. You can't talk about 2014 without talking about those damn triangle bikinis. So just in case you guys are before my time, you can Google it. It's basically just like these sort of neon bikinis that had like a very specific look. They almost looked a little bit cartoony now that I think about it. And to be fair, they were nice bikinis, and I remember my sister had one, and they were very, very good quality. Like I think Triangle, the company, was actually like, I don't know whether they were like properly sustainable, but I know that they like used really good materials. And I remember I watched a really interesting TikTok the other day about how the creator of Triangle Bikini got Kendall Jenner to post a bikini picture in their bikini for free. And basically what they did is that they basically sent Triangle bikinis to all of Kendall Jenner's friends apart from Kendall Jenner. Or maybe it was Kylie Jenner, but I feel like it was Kendall Jenner. Apart from Kendall Jenner. And then Kendall Jenner's like, oh, like, why haven't I got one of these bikinis? And you can't really buy them online. And to be fair, she's probably never bought anything online in her life. Like, do you reckon Kendall Jenner does her own food shops and stuff? Do you reckon she ever orders clothes online? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. She does not have her card memorized. Anyways, so she doesn't have her card details memorized. She doesn't have her card details memorized. I don't know why I repeated that like 4 times. Wasn't even that funny. Yeah, no. So then she emailed, or like her momager emailed Triangle asking for a bikini, and then they sent one over, and then she posted on Instagram like, thank you at Triangle, free advertising, boom. That is so clever. That is so clever. I'm obsessed with that. Let's actually sort of talk about this timeline of social media. Again, this is sort of a timeline of social media in my personal experience, because as I said earlier, this podcast is going to be very anecdotal. My first ever memory of social media was BBM. And again, I know I'm going to have to explain this because some of you guys aren't going to know what BBM is. But BBM was BlackBerry Messenger, and it was like basically a messaging service that was only available on Blackberries. And I would have had Facebook, but my mum didn't let me have Facebook. And I remember I made an account and I put in like a fake name, and then I added all my friends from school. I think I was in like year 6. So I was like 10 or 11 years old. And I added all my friends from school. And then I just cracked under the pressure. I was like, I can't do this anymore. And I told my sister that I made a Facebook account, and my sister was such a snitch. My sister was like, I'm actually just thinking about how much of an op my sister was when we were younger. Like, you know how it's like so many people had so like camaraderie with their sister. Like they had solidarity with their sister or with their siblings because they were all in it together. Not my sister. Nope. She would turn on me and throw me under the bus by any means necessary. So any single time that she because I remember she got into trouble it wasn't like trouble. She just got into trouble for doing something a little bit naughty when like literally just a few years ago. And oh guys, I was basking in it. I was like, I waited 21 years for this, like 20 years I waited for this. So yeah, no, that was my first memory of social media was BBM. But my first sort of memory of like, I guess, it was social media, I guess sort of influencing, was blogging. I don't think I've ever spoken about this before, but before YouTube, I had a blog. So basically how it started was my dad used to, and my mum as well, used to occasionally buy me issues of Shout magazine. Does anyone else remember Shout magazine? I wish that I'd kept them. I don't think that they're anywhere. Maybe they're knocking about at my mum's house. But I used to buy Shout magazine, or my parents used to buy me Shout magazine. And basically I remember once I was reading this issue at my dad's house, and on the cover it said, like one of like the little little title things, it said, I get sent makeup for free. And this was in 2011, I think. 2011, maybe 2012. So it was before like PR was common knowledge. Like I didn't know what PR was, and I don't think a lot of people knew what PR was either. So I remember I saw this title and I was like, whoa, that's so cool. So I read the article, and it was this girl that started, I think she was like 16 to 18 years old maybe, and she had a makeup blog, and she would get sent free makeup to try out on her blog. And to be fair, I never started my blog with the sole purpose of like getting sent free makeup. I remember originally I started my blog like as a fashion blog, and I ended up just veering into makeup because it was what I was into. And I have so many fond memories of blogging. Like blogging was just such a drama-free like experience for me, drama-free community. I mean, to be fair, I think I had beef with someone over our blogs. I've actually remembered it, but I'm gonna save the story for another time because we've already been recording for ages, and I have to leave for my friend's birthday in like half an hour. So like it was such a pure time. And I basically got really, really into beauty blogging, and because I was just obsessed with makeup. I was obsessed with makeup. I cannot get over how much I loved makeup. Every single weekend I would go to Boots, and sometimes I wouldn't even just buy anything because I didn't have any money. Like I would literally just look at all of the makeup and swatch it all on my hand. Like I was obsessed. And I didn't really have anyone to talk to about it. So I started a blog, and I even met up with people who had blogs as well. I was like 13 or 14. I think I was 14 at this time. And I met up with some other people who had blogs. I went from taking pictures on my BlackBerry to my dad buying me a camera. I did, makeup and lifestyle and fashion and I definitely sort of like had some like, I guess, identity problems with the blog in a sense where it wasn't sort of like the aesthetic that I wanted it to be. And I felt like I was always trying to be someone else. But I think that's really, really normal when you're that age. Like when you're 14, you just don't know yourself like at all. So like there were obviously like some teething issues, but it was a really, really pure experience. I followed Zoella's blog. I think it was like, I don't know if it was before she started YouTube, but it was like just as she was sort of in like her first year or two of YouTube. I followed Louise Pentland's blog. I followed the blog which was featured in Shout magazine was called Make Me Up Kaya or Make Me Up Kia. I can't remember how it was pronounced. And then I also followed a blog called The Camera Lies. There were so many blogs that I followed, so many blogs. I made so many friends through blogging as well. I used to, on Twitter, there was this thing called, it was called #BeBloggers. And you would basically just talk about makeup with people, exchange blogs, read each other's posts, because the B stand for beauty bloggers. So you do like #bloggers. Sorry, I completely forgot about that as well. It was just a really, really wholesome time. It was such a wholesome time. And from blogging is when I started my YouTube channel. So I started my YouTube channel when I was 14 years old. I started it on my 14th birthday when I received a camera. And to be fair, I do actually think oh my god, guys, I just pinched myself with my Love Island water bottle. We are going through it with the Love Island water bottle. Like, it's an emotional roller coaster with the Love Island water bottle. Honestly, my biggest regret is deleting my blog, because I remember I just didn't really want those pictures on the internet anymore. I think I was around 18 when I deleted the blog, and the last time I'd posted on my blog, I think I was about 15 or 16 maybe, but I think it was more 15. And my biggest regret is deleting my blog. Absolutely, my biggest regret is deleting my blog. I wish I could have those things to look back on. Like, one thing which I have actually, speaking of 2010's revival, but I guess this is more 2000's revival, I found my 3DS and I have been playing my 3DS non-stop. Recharged it yesterday, so I played it yesterday and today. And guys, I've been playing a game called Style Boutique. It's so good. It is quite funny though, because it's like, wow, when I was younger, I just like played on my DS like going to work. But the thing is, so what it's about is it's about so you're working in a boutique and you're serving customers, you're like picking clothes for them which suit their style, and then basically you're walking in the park one day and this guy is getting chased by this like chihuahua, and he's like dressed in a butler outfit. He's like an old man, his name's Godfrey, and you like save him from the dog and he's like, oh my gosh, thank you, da, 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 da. And then he's like, wow, you guys have really good style, and your co-worker's on like lunch with you, and she's like, oh yeah, Jordan has great style, she should really want a boutique of her own. Who was Godfrey? Only the owner of the boutique you work at, like the butler of the owner of the boutique that you work at. They come into the boutique, they want you to open your own boutique and give back to your community. So I opened my own boutique. Oh my gosh, guys. So I've been opening my boutique, and to be fair, it's so much fun. Like it's so much more fun than I remember it being. Like I'm healing my inner teenager, like inner child more. Like one thing about me, I'm going to heal my inner child. Like it's so good. Like I highly recommend if anyone wants, like is contemplating like trying to find their DS and like buying new games on eBay, buy Style Boutique. It's so good. And I do actually have the song which plays in my shop stuck in my head. It's one of those songs which doesn't have like lyrics. Like I'm sure it does, but like it's sort of like slightly Simlish, and it goes like this. Oh, yeah. Oh, whoa, get down. That's the only words I can hear. That's literally what it sounds like, and it's just like that on a cycle. Like it's like a 30-second song, I think, and they just repeat on a cycle. So I think I'm gonna have to like turn the music off at the shop because it's not even driving me crazy. Like I'm surprisingly really tolerant to it, but I feel like in some countries that would be considered torture. So this is where things get interesting. So these, like the bigger bloggers were obviously being invited to events, they were being sent PR, but they weren't considered influencers. They were influencers, but they weren't considered influencers. Like the word influencer wasn't really in, okay guys, this is the first time I'm saying this word, by the way. I haven't really Googled what it meant. The word influencer wasn't really in the cultural lexicon at the time. So the first influencer was really born on YouTube. And in my opinion, I think that was Mac Barbie 07, also known as Bethany Mota. Bethany Mota was, I think when I watched her in sort of 2012, so she was only 17 years old, and I think she was homeschooled as well, so she had like a lot of time to make YouTube videos. She basically, I think she amassed like over 5 million subscribers. I think she's maybe 9 million now, and she made beauty, fashion, lifestyle content. I have like a list written down here, so just bear with me whilst I read it out. So they were very sort of child, tween and teen friendly. She posted back to school videos, makeup tutorials, hair, makeup and outfit ideas for all different occasions, whether it was your prom, whether it was like St. Patrick's Day, whether it was Christmas, New Year's, like everything. She also posted, sorry, I'm just trying to read off it, haul videos, routine videos. Like she was that girl. Like she was just that girl. Her routine videos, like morning routine, night routine, they banged. They were so good, and that content makes me so nostalgic. And she definitely spurred on like an entire genre of YouTuber. Like she was like the OG. Like she inspired so many people that it basically just created this knock-on effect. Everyone in sort of the beauty, lifestyle, fashion sphere had very similar like content to Bethany Mota, including myself. I copied Bethany Mota a lot. And another one of YouTuber that I really liked was Steela Babe 09, Meredith Foster, who I've gone on a stalk of her channel, and I think that she's like a Christian now. Like her channel is called like Saved by Grace. And I think the last time I saw her Twitter, she was tweeting about how like if you celebrate Halloween, you're going to go to hell. But Bethany Mota, on the other hand, I think she's still uploading onto YouTube and everything. I just love her. She just seems, and she's only, I cannot get over that she's only 27. Like she has had this incredibly like fruitful, just insane career at such a young point in her life. Like I actually just cannot even fathom something like that happening so early in your life. So she was like the OG influencer, and she had a collection with Aero. I don't know, I've only ever heard this shop pronounced by American people, Aero Pastel. But I feel like when you say it in a British accent, it's like Aeropastel. Aeropastel, I think that's how it's pronounced. She had a collection with them, which sold out straight away. And I think she also had like lines with Forever 21 and like another company. And Bethany Mota, I feel like, obviously there were other influencers like Michelle Phan as well. But Bethany Mota, I feel like she was the influencer that made people realize that like, oh, there is power, selling power with these influencers, because every single collection she had with any clothing brand, any makeup brand would sell out instantly. She would fill up entire shopping centers and malls full of teenagers when she was doing a meet and greet. Like, there was power. I think she ended up going on Dancing with the Stars as well, and she ended up getting into the final. Good for her. It makes me so nostalgic, and sometimes I like go onto their channels and watch the videos that I used to watch when I was 13, like just to feel something. And again, my friend Jack said, we were talking about the term nostalgia and how he said to me that nostalgia is derived from a Latin word, I believe, which was used when men who used to go to war would say they were missing home. They would use like a word which was similar to nostalgia, and it basically meant that they missed something that they couldn't have. So like being nostalgic is missing something that you can't have. And it's like when I try to watch the YouTube videos back, I'm trying to recreate that feeling and I just can't. Like, it's just not the same at all, because I remember the feeling. I remember the feeling of sitting in my bedroom when I was 13 years old and binge watching Steeler Babe 09 and Mac Barbie 07 and trying to do videos similar to theirs. And I just remember just literally I could watch their videos all day, and now you just can't recreate that feeling. And again, maybe this is because I was like young, but there wasn't a lot of drama. I don't remember there being a lot of drama. The sort of like beauty community at this time, it was just so wholesome and cute. Like, do you guys remember collab channels? Like, YouTubers would become friends and create collab channels, and they would upload, there'd be like 7 of them, and each of them would upload on a different day on the collab channel to like exchange followers and create a community. Like, it was so good. It just hit different. So honestly, like, I think it was one of the happiest and purest times of my life. And unfortunately from this, we're about to veer into something so much darker. We're going to talk about 2014 pale grunge Tumblr. So this was only 2 years after I was watching Mac Barbie 07 that I started getting into soft grunge / pale grunge Tumblr. I'm just going to call it pale grunge Tumblr. Like, guys, I just want to let you guys know, I was deep in pale grunge Tumblr. I was deep in pale grunge Tumblr. But the thing is that pale grunge Tumblr was slightly more niche, because whilst pale grunge Tumblr was going on, there was still like the Blue Ass Water, King Kylie, Triangle Bikini, Instagram model era of Instagram going on, and Instagram was very much in its peak. So just know that, like, I'm not talking about like the entirety of social media was like this. This is a bit more of like a niche aesthetic. But I have a list written down. I have a list of all the things which I associate with pale grunge Tumblr, and this is just scratching the surface, just in case you guys weren't there, because I lived through this, guys. I lived through this. So we have all black outfits, American Apparel tennis skirts. I still have both of mine. I refuse to throw them away. I'm pretty sure one of them does not fit me anymore, because, you know, I had it when I was a child, but that was my prized possession, that American Apparel tennis skirt. Matte black Doc Martens, pale and bruised legs. Like, having pale legs covered in bruises, it was like aesthetic. And you know what was aesthetic? Having fishnets on them. I know it was even more aesthetic? Smoking. Guys, I cannot believe that I'm about to admit this, but I'm going to admit my mistakes on this podcast. I started smoking because I thought it was cool. And I know all the time in school, you get taught, don't just start smoking because you think it's cool. And you're like, I'm never going to think smoking is cool. I couldn't have predicted 2014 pale grunge Tumblr, and it made smoking cool to me, and that's why I started smoking. The first cigarettes I started smoking were Silk Cut Purples. And then I would smoke, I think I smoked B&H Juul, like the little menthol ones, and they got rid of them, then I stopped smoking. Now I just vape. Not like that's much better. To be fair, vaping is a lot better, but I'm not going to here to be promoting vaping. So yeah, no, I started smoking because of Tumblr. Effie from Skins. The hold that Effie from Skins had on the girls, and also just Skins in general. Lana Del Rey, Born to Die, and Ultraviolence. My mum said that she was listening to the Lana Del Rey, Born to Die album, and she said that it reminded her of when I used to live at home. Oh, I had that album blasting. I blasted that album. Those two albums are incredible. And also, is there anything else written on there? Arctic Monkeys AM. And of course, the key part of Pale Grunge Tumblr is just depressing posts. I went and scrolled through my Tumblr the other day, and I think the last time I reblogged something on my Tumblr was when I was like 19. So like, luckily it wasn't like super, super depressing. There was actually one post where it was... So I'd obviously reblogged this before I watched Game of Thrones. But I reblogged a post of Jamie Lannister saying, and it was in like the aesthetic-y font, of Jamie Lannister saying like, you can't choose who you love. So I thought he was talking about like right person, wrong time, or like being gay. No, he was talking about his sister. Sorry, I just had to get that out of there. So yeah, no, Pale Grunge Tumblr, but all of the posts are so depressing. They're either like pining posts about someone not loving you back and having unrequited love, or they are literally just posts like being depressed. And the thing is that when I look back on like Mac Barbie 07 and like 2012 and like triangle bikinis, like, I guess, I'm trying to think of something. No, literally, it is just like Steeler Babe 09 and stuff like that. When I look back on that, I feel nostalgic. When I look back on Pale Grunge Tumblr, I don't not feel some kind of way. Like, I feel some kind of way when I look back on it. Like, just like, to be fair, my Instagram posts were sick. I had that aesthetic down, and I'm trying to think if anyone else in my school was doing like pale grunge like I was. Not really, I don't think. Maybe my friend Karis was actually. So like I had the aesthetic down, and one thing that I can sort of appreciate is that like it was like the first time that I had really identified with an aesthetic, and I think it was like the first time like I really sort of like found myself. Oh my gosh, I'm just getting a flashback. Joanna Kutcher, Charlie Barker, Elizabeth Bishop, if you know. I definitely look back and feel some kind of way, but also like I don't feel nostalgic, because the thing is that like people sort of love to argue that like 2014 Pale Grunge Tumblr didn't romanticize depression, but like it absolutely did. Like I think you have to be a little bit deluded to think that it didn't romanticize depression. Like, sorry, but if you're reblogging aesthetically pleasing pictures of like beautiful girls like Effie Stoneham, like being depressed, then it's romanticizing depression. I don't care. Sorry, I'm really sitting with my arm out like this. So like it absolutely was romanticizing depression. And the thing is that like I was like 16 at the time, and I was depressed. I was 15, 16. I was like actually depressed. And the problem is that I don't think anyone around me like really recognized that I was like going through it. And like there was like I needed support and I needed help. So I basically just handled it all on my own, and it took me years afterwards to realize that I was actually suffering really severely with depression. And the Tumblr, the 2014 Pale Grunge, just made it so much worse. Like when you're in such a negative mindset and you're consuming nothing but negativity, then like of course you're going to carry on being depressed. Of course, like, it's not the be all and end all, but like it definitely didn't help. And I think not a lot of people were saying it at the time, because like eating disorder culture and like romanticizing depression was just like not spoken about that much, like at all. And in my opinion, Pale Grunge Tumblr was absolutely a revival of heroin chic, but in sort of more of a niche way. Sorry, I'm beginning to run out of steam. I'm getting really tired, but I think we're sort of nearing towards the end. The last thing I'm going to talk about in my little timeline, one second guys. So the last thing I'm going to talk about when it comes to like nostalgia and like my 2010 social media timeline is Instagram. Now, Instagram's a bit of a complicated one, because in 2014, it was in its peak. I don't think it's ever been sort of as good because it was new social media and it was like the first ever, apart from like Facebook, it was the first ever sort of exclusive picture sharing app. And even though like it was sort of aesthetic-y, especially there was like traveling content was huge at the time and like Instagram models and like that blue ass water, like it was huge. But also like despite all pictures sort of having that similar sort of yellowy kind of filter and like being bordered with like the white because you could only upload square pictures on Instagram, there definitely was like a Instagram was still very casual because it was a brand new app and no one had like ever it was the first ever sort of exclusive picture sharing app. There was no like carousel posts, that you couldn't post multiple posts, and there was no stories either. So obviously people would like posted like their story things on Snapchat, but people would post like everything on Instagram. People would post on Instagram multiple times a day and it was just like very normal. I feel like now, unless you're like an influencer, most people don't upload on Instagram every single day at all, but it was just approached much more casually. And I feel like, again, could be looking back on it with rose tinted glasses, but I feel like people didn't really care all that much about the likes. Like people would post pictures, like I feel like now, and again, maybe I'm just talking for myself, people just post like selfies. But like it was literally like you'd post pictures with your friends, what you were eating, what book you were reading, pictures on the beach. Like it was just a lot more casual, in my opinion. And again, I'm probably looking back with rose tinted glasses because like, oh my gosh, guys, if you survived the like 2014 Instagram model, like tiny waist, flat stomach, huge ass, then you can survive anything, because like it was, and like the constant unregulated promotions of things. So like these Instagram models a lot of the time would promote like their fitness plans and their like diet and like meal plans and stuff. But also there was like just constant unregulated promotion of flat tummy teas, which are also known as laxatives. It was so bad. Thank God I never drank one of those, because I remember if I had a bank account at the time, I probably would have bought them and I probably would have shit myself. So now that the reminiscing is all done, let's actually talk about what I personally think is going to come back or has already come back. So the first thing is, I don't know what the actual word for it is apart from like the dead girl aesthetic, but I have also heard people refer to it as lobotomy chic. And look, maybe I'm fucking sensitive, but I think the term lobotomy chic to describe an aesthetic is like extremely strange behavior. I don't like it. Like, oh, lobotomy, the things that women used to get when they were like manic depressed and getting like abused by their husbands, and their husbands would like literally force the procedure on them because they just wanted them to shut up and like get on with their womanly duties. Oh my God, lobotomy chic. Like, I don't know. It just doesn't sit right with me. So basically like that dead girl aesthetic is like, the only way I can describe it is like, I see a lot of people use Gabriette as inspiration. And again, I feel quite sorry for Gabriette in that way, because like her sort of just like her look and like her aesthetic of like wearing cooler colors and darker colors is now being turned into like, oh guys, she's the dead girl aesthetic. Imagine people telling you that you look dead. Like, again, maybe she takes it as a compliment, I don't know, but like I find it all very interesting. Like, I can't imagine that she enjoys like the implications of all this, but I do find this new trend of like buccal fat removal and weight loss and, you know, wanting to look sort of very pale. And again, I'm not calling Gabriette pale. I'm just calling the entire sort of like cool toned, skinny kind of trend. It is just a revival of heroin chic. But I think we all know that. Oh no, that's not what I meant. What I was supposed to say was that I feel like this is a revival of pale grunge Tumblr, but it's just modernized. Because remember, things never come back the exact same. We're never going to see someone wear like an American Apparel tennis skirt, a striped shirt, like a denim jacket and a pair of Doc Martens with fishnets, smoking a cigarette, talking about how they're so effy from Skins. We aren't probably ever going to see that again. But what we will see is people adopting like the dark colors, the cool tones, looking pale, looking quite slim. And that's going to be like the new sort of like dead girl, but really it's just revived pale grunge Tumblr, in my opinion. And the next thing, which I think is really cool, is casual Instagram. I haven't seen anyone talking about casual Instagram in a while, but it was around a year ago that people were talking about starting their casual Instagrams on TikTok. And I feel like casual Instagram is a direct response to like just the fact that Instagram is like so like sparkly and clean and but also it's a direct response to like Instagram being commodified and us overthinking about what we're going to post. So people started creating these casual Instagram accounts where they literally just posted whatever, like literally didn't care, like posted anything and everything. But the thing is that already I remember I saw comments of people being like, how do you make yours more aesthetic? And it's like, guys, that's not the point. And the most followed casual Instagram accounts were like the ones that looked the best. So again, doesn't really matter. But I do think a different way, because obviously not everyone started casual Instagrams, but I do think a different way that this sort of has come about, this sort of casual Instagram mindset, is through photo dumps. And I also think it's come about through private Instagrams. I think a lot of people have grown up on social media, are choosing to not post anything and everything anymore and seeking a bit more privacy in their lives. And maybe we're sort of going to see that with more people who grew up in the social media age choosing to use, as in not necessarily use, but like post on social media less and share less on social media because they shared so much as teenagers. Another thing is, I think the sort of casual use of social media has been revived by TikTok, and the fact that I feel like people care a lot less about how their TikTok feeds look rather than how their Instagram feeds look. Like I feel like a lot of people just like post TikToks with no makeup on and like literally don't care. You know, TikTok is a very fun app, and I feel like it's definitely teetering away from the casualness with the sort of introduction of TikTok Shop. Like every single time I fucking scroll, it's just an ad for TikTok Shop. It's so jarring. And I know you're just trying to help me and recommend me a powder puff, but like it is annoying because you do just feel like people are trying to sell you stuff all the time. But yeah, TikTok, it's very easy to use. It's accessible. There's carousel posts. I see people doing daily vlogs and daily vlogs through pictures, which I think is so cute. Yeah, no, there's just a lot more of like a casual and also like relatable approach to TikTok. And something which, sorry, I'm looking at my notes a little bit here. But speaking of like relatability, something which I forgot to say was that Bethany Mota was loved for her relatability. And then following Bethany Mota was the Brit Crew. And I feel like we sort of don't really follow influencers for relatability, or we didn't for a while, but I think TikTok has reintroduced like the relatable influencer, like the non-influencer influencer. But yeah, and the last thing which I think is going to come back when it comes to social media is the return of long form casual content. We're already seeing that with the popularity of podcasts, but also I think that when it comes to YouTube, there is just such a gap for long form lifestyle content and fashion content and beauty content, because a lot of people who were doing it on YouTube, like if I don't know whether their views were dropping or whatever, but chose to move to TikTok, which is completely understandable. But yeah, no, I just think it's like really interesting. You know, I don't even necessarily think, I think someone who is a really good example of like slowing it down is Emma Chamberlain, who went from doing those really fast paced like the editing videos to like the editing videos sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. Sorry, I've been recording for a long time. To really slowing down her videos, which I think is just like really interesting. And I think it's absolutely a sign of things to come. I don't necessarily think people are going to get short form content fatigue the way that people got long form content fatigue. But I do think that people are going to get, including myself, are going to get bored of just the mindless scrolling on TikTok and are going to want to sit down and just watch a video. I just think that this is going to be shady towards youtube.com. But YouTube need to sort out their algorithm, because, and this isn't me complaining from a creative perspective at all, because my video about TikTok beauty standards did really well. Like I'm not complaining about it at all. What I'm complaining about is the fact that why am I being recommended like the same 10 videos for like 3 weeks? Like shake it up. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's basically all my thoughts on it. Those are my thoughts on things which are going to come back. And obviously this is only the beginning. So much more is going to happen. I would love to have some sort of final thought, but I really don't, and I need to leave for my friend's birthday party. So I'm gonna go. Let me know what you think of my bangs or my fringe, because I feel like inherently fringes make you look a bit disheveled, especially when you have your fluffy air wrapped hair. But yes, I hope you guys enjoyed listening to Voice Notes with Jordan Theresa. And forgot to say, uploading schedule every other week. So I will see you guys in a couple of weeks for a new episode. Bye.